introductions then. Get my teeth back in. So, have you pressed record?
No.
No? Ah. It's accidentally started recording, so I better say hello to everybody. I think we must have hit 9 o'clock, and so welcome everybody to this week's webinar. So today it's myself and Stanley and Thom Shardlow from Anicca Digital, and we've got a guest with us today, Karandeep Mattu, who's he's from Colourways Textiles, and we're going to be telling his story. I'm just waiting to see whether a few more people are going to write in the chat. And so while we're waiting for some more people to arrive, let me hit we'll start with the polls. And we've got a number of polls for you today. I need to read them out. Otherwise, what happens is they don't actually show. So my first poll is all to do with sustainable fashion and sustainable and ethical fashion, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So my first question for you to complete is, do you proactively switch to an alternative product or brand because of their sustainability credentials and other values that they stand for? So there's quite a few to choose from. So you can actually choose more than one if you want to. And people have started to poll, which is great because it means that it's working. No, I'm very cost conscious and have to buy what I can afford. Not really, although I agree with this sentiment. I still shop based on style and design or select the brands I love. Not really. I have not been able to find the brands or products with these values. Yes, I will switch to another brand as long as I like the product and it's not any more expensive. Yes, I'm happy to pay slightly more, up to 25% extra for a brand I believe in. That's the most popular one at the moment. Definitely, I proactively seek out the alternatives and I'm prepared to pay 50 to 100% more for my beliefs. This is so important. I will pay more than double for the right brand or product. Okay, so we're still waiting for a few more people to arrive. So I'll let this poll run for a little longer. So if you have started, if you've just arrived, we're going to be talking about sustainable and ethical fashion today. And so my question that you'll see in the poll in front of you is really about where you're prepared to switch products because of the sustainable credibility and credentials of the brand. So we've definitely got about 60% of the people saying that they are happy to swap and they're prepared to pay about 25% extra. And then we've got another 20% saying that they'd actually be prepared to pay 50 to 100% more for their beliefs. So it's great. We've got an audience that believe in this stuff. So that's really helpful, guys. So I'm just going to, it is fluctuating a little bit, but we've definitely got an audience where about 80 to 90% of people are prepared to switch, which is great. Okay, so let's go to the next question and then we can do the introductions. So my next question is about what values are most important to you. So this is so which of the following sustainable and ethical values are most important to you? Please select the ones that are the most important. So don't just click all of them, otherwise that doesn't help us. So the choice of materials, using recycled materials such as recycled plastic or recycled clothes and textiles. The choice of materials, using natural materials obtained by sustainable, environmental friendly and ethical ways. So this could be organic cotton, for example, some of the alternative bamboo and flax and some of the other materials that could be out there. Production, produced in the UK to lower carbon footprint and provide local jobs. I've just realised that I haven't hit the go button. So let me just, should have shouted at me, Thom, sorry. So let me just repeat that. Let me just repeat that one again. So which of the following sustainable and ethical values are most important to you? Please select the ones that are most important. So the first one is the choice of materials, using recycled materials. The second one is the choice of natural materials obtained in a sustainable, environmental and ethical way. Production. This is produced in the UK to lower carbon footprints and provide local jobs. Now, none of you have started clicking on this yet, so it might be that you need to get rid of the poll that you had previously, and so you should be able to see this. So I'm starting to see a few answers, but yeah, make sure that you can actually see the poll. Producing the
I
UK.
only select one at the moment on that second question, unfortunately, for some reason.
Oh, can you? So let me just put it back to the queue. Let me just change that because it's really important we get more than one answer from people. So I'll just change that. Thank you for telling me that, because I can't tell that when I
Great. Yeah, that's working out perfect.
Is it open? Is it still working? Yeah,
that's open and perfect. Yeah, you can select more than one. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm sorry this has been a bit confusing. It's there's lots of really useful information in here. So if we can, I think I have to start the poll again.
Well, good. It's come up, Anne.
Is it working?
Yeah, I've just submitted.
Okay, yeah, it's working now. That's great. So we're starting to get some answers through. So produce in the UK, produce near the raw materials, production made on demand. So this is where you actually only make the product once you get an order. So that means you're not producing masses of product and then having any waste. Production materials used and factory process designed to minimize environmental impact. We're getting some really great answers here. Values: the brand ensures workers are paid a living wage and there's no exploitation, no child labour, no poor conditions. Obviously, Leicester had a very, got really hit in the press by the boohoo bad publicity at the beginning of COVID. So I think everybody's very aware of that. Values: the brand gives some profits or donation to specific causes I believe in. The design advertises the causes that I believe in. For example, there was a load of T-shirts around the Sea Shepherd, which is the anti-whaling sort of lobby. I want to show off my values by displaying a brand name that is an ethical brand association. So this is where it's obvious that the T-shirt is standing up for ethics. So you know, for example, Colourways could have a little signature or a little label. And then values: I want to be able to return and recycle the products that I buy. Transparency: I want third-party proof of the supply chains. That, in other words, things like traceability, fair trade, global organic textile standards, etc., etc. So we've got some interesting answers. Now, obviously, quite a few people have taken a little while to fill this in because there's so many choices, and consequently it's spread across. But I think the choice of materials is really important. That's coming out at sort of 14% The values, that's all to do with exploitation and child labour, which of course is in the press at the moment. The design advertised that I'm actually believe in that. That's good. That's high as well. And then the other one that's really high is transparency. So hopefully that's really helpful, Karandeep, as you can see those. And we will get the individual answer so we get an idea of who's clicked on what. But I think the top one at the moment is probably about living wage and worker conditions, which I guess isn't too surprising, really. Shall we do the third one, or would you like to go straight ahead, Tom? Is the price?
Yeah, let's. I think if we could go ahead, we'd maybe do the poll at the end, see if it's changed anybody's opinion.
Excellent. Okay, well, I'll pass over to the team now. I'm going to disappear. I'll reappear about 5:02. The video will be available later, and if any of you've got any questions, we'll try and answer them as we go along as well. So thanks very much, everybody, and I'll see you in a little while.
Excellent. Thank you. Hello, everybody. Obviously, my name's Tom, and I've got Karandeep Mattu here of Colourways Textiles. So we're going to go through a bit of a Q&A today, tell you what we've been doing with Karandeep, how he started, a bit of a life story. I look like Michael Aspel, and I'm doing a bit of a "This Is Your Life," I suppose, to a certain degree. But I forgot my red book, so it won't be that intense. So we'll get to it. In terms of the introductions, first of all, just a quick bit about Anicca. Obviously, we are a digital marketing agency. We work within the Leicestershire area. However, our clients are well beyond that remit. Karandeep and Colourways Textiles, our relationship has been going, was it 3 years now? Is it, Karandeep? Anne was saying before. Not with myself, but with the rest of the team. And we've got great clients across many industries. With Karandeep being one of those. So if you don't know us already, hopefully you will at the end of today. I am Tom. I've only been with Anicca for probably about 9 weeks now, which has gone quick, but at the same time, I feel like I've been in forever in a good way. That photo wasn't taken today. See that? However, I am wearing the same top, and that is a different brick wall, promise you. So obviously I've joined as head of strategy. I look after the audience-centric approach and make sure that all of our campaigns, I suppose, are targeting the right individuals at the right time. So that's where Karandeep comes in, because obviously, look at that lovely face there. Great photo, Karandeep. The founder of Colourways Textiles. One of our clients, we met probably in my first week, actually, not literally, but I suppose virtually, just like this environment. We've still yet to meet face to face. And as you can see, it is very much Beauty and the Beast, me being the Beast, of course. And we've, got a fantastic relationship already. So I don't know where Karandeep's just ran off to. There you go. That's an entrance. He's working on his entrance music. There you are. So if you just want to say hello, Karandeep, that'd be fantastic.
Morning, all.
Good intro. Fantastic. So again, today we are going to be looking at, first of all, who is Karandeep Mattu, and why are we talking about that today? And I will give a quick introduction, if that's all right, Karandeep, of where I perceive it, and then if we just do a couple of questions, that'd be great. So Karandeep is actually a third generation textile extraordinaire of the Leicestershire area. Is it your granddad on the left and your great granddad in the middle there, Karandeep? Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
Fantastic photo. So yeah, this was taken around the 60s, early 60s. But obviously it was Karandeep's granddad that started the textiles business in 1972, I believe. And it's obviously gone from strength to strength since then with multiple different businesses. So fast forward to where Karandeep is today, obviously, yeah, as I say, 50 years family experience. However, it all started in 1972 with the business. So actually, it's 49 years. I won't make you too much older than me. But however, the third generation, absolutely. But the infrastructure has completely changed since then. There's no kind of cotton wholesalers anymore. So Karandeep has to hold stock. He has to do short run demands as well as large run demands. And obviously, he has to look at quality and fairness these days, which is, completely different. So actually, fast forward, although there's 1972 years worth of experience, 50 years worth of experience, Karandeep actually has become, by adapting to modern day standards, the textile wizard, so to speak. And I've got a little photo of you here, Karandeep, just there in your gear and casting your spells. So the wizard himself in textiles, I've coined that, by the way, everyone. Karandeep has no involvement in that nickname. But yeah, Karandeep, I mean, it was great to kind of hear about the family history, but right in saying you've really had to put your business experience into the textiles business to adapt to the modern day. Isn't that right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was when I joined, it was a completely different business. But to make this a business I could work in for the rest of my career, it definitely had to change. It needed modernizing. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's really, really interesting when you speak to Karandeep about the types of things that he's had to go through, and the change in the supply and demand kind of processes to adapt to that and to where he is today. So, I mean, what I wanted to show was actually how powerful that is, and where Colourways Textiles are and what they are as a business and what they stand as from that 50 years of experience of where Karandeep's got to, and essentially you've built this business, this new business on a really fantastic scalable foundation, and touched on obviously a lot of bad reputation within the industry. And what's great straight away when you speak to Karandeep and the team there is just how important it is to get across, this is people's careers, and these are skilled individuals that Karandeep wants to support with the families. And so, started this journey as a living wage employer, which should be everybody's approach, really. But it's really admirable. But also is very, very conscious of the sustainable aspects of business, and really wanted to strive towards that sustainability, which you'll see more about in a bit in this presentation. And because that was the future, and is that right, Karandeep, in terms of that's where you see the future development of the industry? It needs to kind of back that sustainable ethics, so to speak.
I think so. I think it's yeah. I think you're going to struggle. I mean, if it's not sustainable, it's going to finish at some point. So yeah. So, the answer to your question is yes.
Brilliant. Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So yeah, I mean, effectively, we're in this world now, post Brexit, post pandemic, and these things have become really a lot more prevalent and upfront for people in terms of importance. And quality of life has come back to the forefront. And so actually, as Karandeep put it, you have to be in order to survive, and actually quite ahead of his game in that, like, he had these in place prior to those economic decisions, and that's the reason why he was in that way. So also with the ETI, the Ethical Trade Initiative base, that's how you support your business. Which again, if you want to look at that, it's all on the website of Colourways Textiles. And shows that base plate of how he set up his business. So that's, as I say, living wage, sustainability, it's health and safety as well, isn't it, Karandeep, along amongst other things?
Yeah, it was set up by the International Labour Standards Organization, which is just I think it's 12 bullet points. That these should be carried around, that these should be adhered to no matter where things are being manufactured, whether third world or the UK.
Amazing. Yeah, so that's like, and that really applies in the whole supply chain, doesn't it? So even if the production of the materials that Karandeep's investing into, he's making sure that they're matching the same standards that Colourways abides to. So again, that whole supply chain is ethical and also sustainable in that respect as well, which is brilliant. And the last aspect today in terms of that scalable foundation is, I suppose, the Made in Britain trademark is something that's become very, very important, not from an economic level, but like really from that post-Brexit approach of import-export. It's more sustainable in that we are in charge, I suppose, of that destiny of, we're not being forced to make changes to price points, for example. Based on that. So that's, again, another scalable foundation that's absolutely important to the future of Karandeep's business. Now, in terms of the actual product, it matches. And this is where our relationship started in learning about this product. And essentially, at the moment, it's T-shirts, sweatshirts, and polo shirts we're going through, aren't we, at the moment, Karandeep? Are they the three core? And they're all fantastic, and this is where we, especially, I think we've got quite a few fashion students on the attendees list today, which is really great, and I think you'll be really, really excited to see some of these aspects that Karandeep has put into the product, and it really does match the business itself. So Supima cotton, and this is really interesting. I'd never even heard of it, really. But do you want to just give a bit of an insight as to what Supima cottons are, if that's all right?
Yeah, Supima cotton is basically a long staple cotton. So if you imagine the strand on a cotton bulb, the longer the strand, the stronger, the finer, the smoother, the more durable it is. And Supima is more specifically grown in the USA, where there's just a lot more controls in place, so we can guarantee certain things. But Supima is actually, the Pima cotton's grown all around the world, but Supima is actually it's actually shortened for Superior Pima. So it's the greatest, it's the best cotton in the world, basically.
That's fantastic. And obviously even hearing about that, I was like, what? I was looking into it, and the research that we've done is it literally is trusted by the best. So if you go onto the supima.com website, it will show you, that the partners that they have that use this cotton. So you're talking the Levi's of the world and the real top end, and even the suppliers. So automatically it's the best product. This t-shirt that we're getting and the sweatshirts, it's the best product that you can get in terms of the raw material. Also on top of that, the colorings that are all organic and sustainable dyes that Karandeep's using throughout. So again, every aspect of this raw product is sustainable and matches that ethos. There's no cutting corners, which is reflective in the price that we'll talk about later as well. But getting that message across is absolutely critical. So again, are they quite easy to come by these days, Karandeep, the organic and sustainable dyes, or is that actually quite a challenge to source these?
No, definitely not in the UK. There's we're limited to the number of dye houses in the UK. I mean, a lot of them don't exist anymore. So, trying to get a dye house to buy new dyes just for us was a real challenge. But all our dyes are Oecotech, 100 standard. Yeah, we managed to convince them to do it. We have to give them a hell of a lot of quantity to do it, but they did do it for us.
That's amazing. So again, there's no corners cut here. It is actual a quest really for the best possible material and outcome. And then also the carbon footprint of the production of these fabrics. So from raw material to finished product, when you actually get it all in the factory, am I right in thinking it's around 6 miles, isn't it? Within that remit, isn't it, Karandeep?
That's yeah. I mean, it has to go out to the dye house and back, which is 6 miles. But everything else is done under one roof.
And just put that into perspective, guys. Like the standard average T-shirt that you're getting, it takes 8,700 miles on average to make the average T-shirt. So if you think about that carbon footprint versus what Karandeep's doing here, as again, the quest to actually place the factory all under one roof, do those processes, and only have to send it to the dye house, and having to source that dye house on a local basis and get that out, from raw material to packaged good in 6 miles versus the fact of 8,700 is probably one of the biggest aspects of this product that is taken for granted. It's absolutely brilliant, and it's not really comparable to many others. Now, finally, all of the packaging that you get sent out. So it's not just an ethical and sustainable product and then just put into a standard plastic wrap. Everything's biodegradable that you put in. We're going through this process at the moment. Part of the process that Anicca is helping with as well is looking at more of a designed process for that and a curated experience. However, at the moment, everything's sourced. Now, in terms of sourcing these products, Karandeep, I know you even put a little thank you letter in that's made from recycled materials as well, haven't you? Do you want to talk a bit more about that as well?
Firstly, it wasn't easy. It was extremely difficult to try to find. I think it all started about a couple of years ago when the Guardian newspaper started sending out their newspapers in a biodegradable packaging, and from there it sort of made it really popular, which is actually drove demand and actually brought the cost of those products down to a more feasible level. But when we were choosing what we were going to go for, it was no doubt, it was definitely going to have to be biodegradable or recyclable or compostable.
Excellent. Yeah. So as you realize, guys, like, I know it's a lot easier these days, and we hear the word sustainable quite a lot and ethical, but actually truly ethical and truly sustainable products are very few and far between. the consideration of every aspect that goes into this, the product, the dyes, the inks, even in printing, and even the packaging it's sent through to, even the label in which the paper label in which your name and address is printed upon for delivery. Everything has to be considered within this business model, because that's how Karandeep wants it. It's every aspect. So the cost is far greater, and the exploration is far greater than it ever was before, because it's every aspect, as I say. So even I've received one of these products, and even the packaging is compostable, for example. So we're making the most of that, and we're looking at how we can actually make that really come out. And you will see later in the presentation of actually all the aspects are in place here, but we're just not telling the right story at present. And that's the exciting bit for us, obviously, to help with that bit. But yeah, it's a really exciting journey to go through. Now, on top of all of that, when a purchase is made, actually a donation of the planting of a mangrove tree is done by Karandeep and the team in all places, and I'll let Karandeep speak a bit more, because I am under the impression that he gets free holidays because this is where those trees are planted. In Haiti. Do you want to talk a bit more about that, Karandeep, and how that's come about and how you got that up and running and what have you?
Yeah, I mean, we were looking at ways of giving something back, and there's a lot of talk about how damaging the garment industry is to the environment and its local areas, and how much a t-shirt, just a single t-shirt, 8,000 something miles, from start to finish. So we wanted to do something, and we came across a company called Milky Wire, which was it's a European-based organization, very similar to 1% of the Planet, that works with NGOs around the world. And we carefully sort of selected who we were going to work with, what we were going to do. And the reason we chose to plant a mangrove tree in Haiti for every sale was twofold. One, if you read in the news, like Haiti actually is an extremely poor country, but also it suffers a lot from weather-driven disasters, just naturally from the geography of where it's based. Being a very poor country, it's actually used up vast majority of its natural. It's basically wood. Everything was cut down, so that left it even more vulnerable to the elements. So planting a tree in Haiti would actually give them that back, and give them a little bit more protection. But also, mangrove trees are amazing in removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So on average, it stores So studies indicate pound for pound, mangrove trees can subsequate 4 times more carbon than rainforests can. Sorry, I was reading that off our website.
I couldn't tell.
Most of the carbon stored is stored under the soil. So it's packed away safely in Mother Earth. But up to about a ton a year for each tree.
Oh, amazing! It's so impressive. I mean, this is, what was the name of that charity again? Sorry, that ran that.
So we actually give directly to an NGO, but we give through a company called Milky Wire.
Milky Wire. Okay, we'll put that in the notes afterwards, actually, because it'd be great for everybody to kind of read about that. But yeah, brilliant. So that's kind of like the product in itself and the sustainable aspects of the business. And there was a question a bit further back, actually, about the production. So obviously, yes, the cotton is created in the US, but in terms of the actual production, it is brought over to the Leicestershire factory, and once we have the raw material, that's the 6 mile production. So obviously the raw material delivery doesn't count in for that. But yeah, the cotton is created in the US, the Supima, the best one, and obviously it's not just brought over for our own. It's obviously bought from a wholesale local buy and created within that 6 mile environment. But yeah, then you've got the Haiti aspect, which is absolutely fantastic. Can the name of the charity go here, please? It's a fascinating webinar thing. Well, thank you very much, Carol. We'll continue on for a bit more. So thanks for that, Karandeep. So just want to give an update of where Colourways were and are to a certain degree, because we're still very early on this journey of where we're going, and we'll show you what we're trying to do in terms of getting this message across. Because as we've all been made aware, this is where the factory is right now, which is state of the art, fantastic, beautiful place. And you can see, yeah, we didn't literally meet here. I've still never met you personally, have I, Karandeep? I'm still convinced you're about 7 foot tall, but I don't know yet until we've actually shaken hands. But there you are. So yeah, effectively, this is where our journey met. This is the current structure where Karandeep has, as I say, a 3rd generation established textiler. And the equipment is unreal, like the state-of-the-art functions and processes, and this is where all the materials are being made. We've heard about the actual the product and the sustainable aspect of everything done so far. But this is what we saw from an outsider's perspective when we first met, which is great. This is the T-shirt, a model within that. That's not his twin brother. That's a bit of photoshopping for you. That's the sweatshirt, and obviously another sweatshirt there. So that's what we see. That's what we saw, and this was the brand that attached to that. Which is nice. There's aspects of the fox, with it being Leicestershire. There's the very understated logo and brand, and there's this premium sustainable product. Now, what we thought was all that story that we just told you about, all the sustainability and all of the fantastic stories and the journey that Karandeep's gone on to make this sustainable, was it wasn't successfully telling that same level of story when you first grasped the eye. So everything was in place and is in place. All of the hard bit, so to speak, it was just that last bit of the first taste being the eye of where we needed to take it. And this was the social media that was being pushed out. And it was very, as I say, okay. It wasn't really bringing through the personality of Karandeep, and it wasn't bringing through the aspects of the actual business itself. So you can see great content, just executed in a way that we felt could be better in terms of brand ownership. So really, to look at this, would you think Colourways Textiles? Possibly not, because what does it actually stand for, and who are they? So this was where our journey started. So colourwaystextiles.com is where it currently looks. Now, Karandeep and myself had a conversation, and we said, right, let's have a look at what we can do in terms of who the people that we want to talk to are. Is it agnostic across gender and boundary, so to speak, in terms of does it transcend the UK? Are we talking to the right individuals? Are we grabbing them? What type of other aspects in their lifestyle are they looking at, and then how can we promote that? So I think it's correct in saying, Karandeep, if you agree that realistically that you have all of the backbone and all of the structure, but you just didn't know properly how to talk about it, so to speak. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. This is I can make I can make a great T-shirt, but this is where I needed some help.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and he really can make a good T-shirt. I've actually got one on to wear tomorrow out in there. So yeah, I'm a fan. I'm bought it. So where we take it and where we look at is, first of all, we might have seen a previous webinar that I did about that best creative and how you talk about yourself and understand what the platform limitations are, whether it's Facebook or whatever it may be. But first and foremost, always, is who is your audience? And what we really needed to do, and this was a really nice project for us, is to take a step back and understand, right, well, who is going to buy into this story the most and help take it to the next phase beyond that, in terms of talking about the product and from their own perspective and actually getting behind it and becoming lifelong fans. So we did a great bit of exercise over the last few weeks, and this again, you know, you're the first to be seeing this really, and this is really fresh. We wanted to really pull back. What is Colourways? And it's very hard to do something simply once you've actually started looking at the actual product. And so taking a step back, it's responsible. But what really was coming through was this trust and this truthfulness and this power. And actually, the fact that Karandeep's done all the hard work to make it accessible to everybody for a particular price. So actually these are the real truthful words of Colourways, and we're able to take these 5 and put them out to a lot of different people and see, will they resonate with that particular audience. We also wanted to look back and say, right, what do we sell? What are they? They're not just t-shirts, they're not just sweatshirts, but actually they empower, you know, they make you feel better because you've given something back. You're actually supporting something, and you're being responsible. They'll also inspire you to think and you know and be better and feel like it's a healthy mind, you know, to be this way. But it also helps you be expressive and you know, I've invested actually into this t-shirt, so it's absolutely brilliant to kind of go through these and really pull back. What does your brand stand for? And this was a really exciting exercise that obviously we worked with Karandeep on. And essentially we come with this brand foundation at the end of it, and we've got a brand, you know, the 50 years experience, the trust in the 50 years, and actually the process, the cutting edge factory versus the product that's brilliant. You know, it's sustainably sourced, it's premium, it's quality, it's on trend, and actually on trend comes very apparent in both brand and product. People are looking for this, especially I think in the last year we've become very local and community driven, because obviously on furlough we spent a lot more time in the home and working from home, so these things and matters are really important to us. And if you push them together, we get a common theme, and it's authenticity. And that's what our absolute selling point is in with this product. It's authenticity throughout. And you speak to Karandeep, there's no airs and graces. You know, it's absolute the truth of what Karandeep says and the quest that he goes on to get these aspects. So that was a real kind of, although feels simple, is a real spark for us, wasn't it, Karandeep, in terms of, right, this is probably when we reassess that authenticity, was our current content getting that across? And I don't think it was it, in terms of that process. So next was to create this voice and taking that back and making a bit of a statement. So actually our tone is very socially focused, and it's, no matter the channel, the copy is quick, clever, infused, and it's a play on words and empowering sophisticated language, because that's the product itself. You know, it's very much created for the likes of social media. It's something where you can discover and be part of. So it's always natural, and we appeal to that digital savvy. So actually straight away, if you're digital savvy, we stop the line at an over 40, really, on a natural basis, because an over 40 did not grow up with digital. So actually we automatically know straight away from that is, right, we're looking at an under 40s market here. It's confident in its consumer, and it was also looking for the freshest stuff out there with a worthy and responsible message. Now that also gives us a category from the other side. So although it's under 40 as our absolute premium target, it's actually over 30 because that's the maturity that they're going to attach to that. So automatically, from doing our voice, we've discovered this remit of an audience between that 30-40 mark as our optimum target. Now, from that, we're able to talk about what we say and how we talk about the brand as a whole. So we say it's all about the ethics, and think of the factors of confidence and uniqueness in making yourself seen. Its foundation is within the clothes we wear, and the difference a good quality top can make to your confidence is nothing short of awesome. So again, you know, this we're able to start going into this professional, you know, powered, I suppose, digital savvy 30 to 40-year-old that really understands themselves. So it really starts to form our audience for us. And who doesn't love an Oprah Winfrey quote? I know I do. So it was something that really resonated. And in bringing through that authenticity, it was something she said. It was, what I know for sure is that speaking your truth is the most powerful tool we have. And that reflects in everything that we do, everything that we wear, everything that we say, and how we come across. So that was a really powerful quote for us to kind of back ourselves to. So all of a sudden, through this mantra, through this absolute steaming of power, good, feel good, we're able to just roll into these environments and say, right, who is it we want to talk to? We're able to back that and get people on board. And from that, we were able to form this absolute, I suppose, example of our target market that we've called Tim. Why not? It suits the photo, I suppose. Is the imitation does not cut it. Expect everything in his world to inspire and express him, as well as match his aspirations in striving to be better. So that's not just in the clothes he wears. He's Tim. He's 28. He's male and a true post-millennial. Now, I've said a minimum of 30, but actually, when you start bringing into it and you're bringing down the lower age, this was something of a shock to us. So we went in looking for a 30 to 40, and we were going out there. And actually, the people that resonated the most were the young and up and coming city dwelling professionals, because this was the age of actually where they were defining themselves. So we brought that area and age down substantially to that 28-year-old. His office days have become more senior, so he's got more disposable cash. Life's big responsibilities have been mastered. He's got a house potentially. He's got a steady relationship. The world around him is very important. Walks and nature has become a genuine love, and he confidently lives his truth, expressing who he is, and is subtle but powerful. There you are. Now, from that, we're able to have a manageable conversation of how we're going to talk about the brand. It's very, very scary. Do we use the web? Do we use paid search? Do we use YouTube? All these different channels. Do we use PR? Do we go through that area? Well, actually, from defining that audience first approach, what we're able to do is define the channels of where they are most prevalent, I suppose. So from this, Tim 28, Instagram and TikTok straight away is done that work for us. So if we concentrate on the launch of this product within those two key channels, then we're able to make the biggest impact. So this is why we do this audience first approach, because it considers where we go and where we take it in a manageable way to then scale beyond that. Now, obviously, that's Tim, but who's the female counterpart to that? And we found a Tilly. Now, you'll notice that Tilly's 26. It's because we noticed that she's 2 years younger, because females are renownedly more mature than men. So we're able to pull that age group down a little bit. So Tilly, how does she differ to Tim? So she's happy to do her part. She needs purpose, and doing her part gives her confidence. She's not prepared to jeopardize style for sustainability. It's about time. Everyone catch up. Everybody needs to kind of hit into this. And this is perfect. This is great, because we're able to talk differently to Tilly than we do to Tim. So 26 female, and appreciates the tangible aspects of material things. So she understands that if she owns something, it needs to matter. So her confidence has given her purpose, and she is career happy. The world around her can be expressive and diverse, but it needs to be fair and inclusive. She's determined to live her truth, expressing who she is in every moment. And again, Instagram and TikTok is her natural habitat. So what we're able to do from this now is take it all and say, right, well, we can start forming creative and briefs to PR agencies, to content creation agencies, and say, these are the people that you're talking to. So this is the tone of voice that you need to get across. So it matches Karandeep's approach to sustainability, to all these aspects that he's gone hard on discovering, biodegradable packaging, all of these organic and sustainable dyes that he's put his, putting a lot of his sorry, Ruth. Just I've seen your comment there. So he's putting a lot of his time and efforts into obviously like pushing forward and getting these aspects done. We need to match that with digital marketing and start targeting those individuals. Now, the future of CWT in terms of a brand aspect is we need to reapply these creative best practices that took a bit of a hit, I suppose, in the previous content that Karandeep was currently running. So taking that targeting group that we were talking about, the Tims and the Tillies of the world, looking at the branding, we need to get that across. We need to start owning our content again. We need to start being accountable and making sure that CWT, Colourways Textiles, comes across in every single asset. So if people see it and go, yeah, I love that. We need to get the timing right, the attention. We need to get the framing right, and obviously the sound. We need to start designing for sound off, but delighting with it on. So in terms of video content, so you might have seen that webinar a few weeks ago where we went over this a bit more. So all of a sudden we needed a brand that was going to stand out on Instagram and TikTok, and really come across. So what we had before, in terms of that Leicestershire fox, that's not scalable in a real tiny aspect. If you saw that on an image, it would blur and it would merge, and the colors aren't more defined enough, and the fox lines are very delicate. That's not a mark for social, because it would be missed. So we've adapted it into more of an icon, something that's ownable. You've still got the fox aspects. This is a logo that can obviously be pushed in. It's very social focused. It still holds the values of the business. So if you go back, the very intricate fox that now comes into this head icon and the tail, which looks like a fox looking backwards, which is absolutely lovely. Then the actual Colourways Textiles we looked at, and again, it's a very long oblong. We need to square that up into the social environment and to make more of an impact. So we need to reimagine that aspect. So how does that come across when we make it CWT and actually brings that more of an ownership onto the actual brand itself? And we absolutely loved this new way, didn't we, Karandeep, in terms of how that can now talk a different way and gives more confidence and matches that sustainable outlook, I suppose, to the brand itself. Then how we can play with that brand as well. We can make it part of the logo, bring the tail in and the body and the fox, so it becomes more playable. It becomes a lot more impactful within social media. So we ended up with, this is our mood board at present. You've got the sustainability of the oceans. You've got the Colourways textile CWT lockup with the new colour. Even when featuring a product, we lock on a frame that can bring in the fox. And obviously there's the mangrove aspect. So the real subtles in the creams and the gold and the blue really does adapt and bring that brand along from where we had it, and that's what's really exciting for us. Is we've formed this audience first approach. We've gone out and targeted and created this tone voice, and now we're at the point where we're ready to relaunch and match that. So next steps is, we've created this mantra, and this is effectively in 4 lines what Karandeep stands for. It's make a difference by doing more. Know yourself to the core. Don't be afraid to lose, and be who you choose. And that's really, an underlining aspect in terms of the hashtag that we need to get across there, which we love and we've really bought into. And then effectively, we're off now. Post this webinar, we're at the point where we are going to go and find Tim and Tilly, our post-millennial confident go-getters and digital natives, within the remit, first of all, of Instagram and TikTok, where we will then learn and see how we get to the next steps, and effectively expand into other platforms. And why? It's because these are effectively designed to empower creativity and self-expression. So we're really excited to get going. And then finally, you might have seen our multiple need state approach. This is how we're going to go about it. We're off to now create assets that you're going to see, hopefully, if you want to follow and the journey of Colourways now and CWT. We're going to target multiple need states. We're going to talk to people about We're going to get new followers about the ethics and the sustainability aspect that Karandeep's spoken us through. Then we're obviously going to play a bit more. We're going to get some consumer engagement, understand what's important to them. We're going to do some hidden Easter eggs within the product as well. We're going to look at a bit more printing and storytelling within the product. Even though it's a plain tee at the moment at our premium price point, we are going to make that work. And then we're going to start looking at some acquisition aspects and, you know, some shopping ads where you can actually purchase directly from those, and with a bit more information and understanding exactly why you should be buying the CWT approach. So that's really exciting for us. I'm just going to kind of talk about where we've started this journey. So from this, and we are taking it to this, and effectively, yeah, good point there, Richard, in terms of where we are in terms of the price point. So because of those sustainable aspects and where Karandeep's taking it, and obviously the commitment to the sustainability, the t-shirt at the moment is £45. And the sweatshirt, how much is the sweatshirt at the moment, Karandeep?
We're selling it for 80, but the brands we manufacture for, they're selling that t-shirt for 70 to 80, and the sweatshirt for about 120 to 250.
Sure. Yeah. And so this is an own brand. It's cheaper than the one. So just to put it into perspective, Karandeep supplies for some very well-known brands. His experience is B2B. He creates the garments for the industry. And, you know, we're talking about premium product. So effectively, coming in at £45, and the backing of where that £45 gone for a t-shirt, the sustainability, the investment, it's very, very accountable for every aspect. So that's what we need to get across. The fact of, and I appreciated you asked it, because at this level of content, Richard, we didn't feel that matched, wasn't really suitable to be getting across the justification of a £45 t-shirt and £80 sweatshirt. However, we feel that this is justified at this point. We're telling the story in a way that justifies that. Now, Ed, yes, the new logo is something that we're discussing at the moment in terms of how we introduce that. And actually, some of the poll questions are talking about that. Now, one of the conundrums is, even though we've defined our audience and we looked at the absolute optimum, we've realised that there's an element of certain individuals that we would call the boast poster, in terms of, oh, look what I've invested about. I want to wear. So you've got brands like Patagonia, for example, that have a very similar approach in ethical and sustainability, but their branding is plastered all over their products. So by purchasing one of those, people know that you're into that. So a plain version, so with no branding on it whatsoever, we're talking about, aren't we, Karandeep? So in terms of exploring where we take that, it might be a hidden label on the side. It might be in the actual collar, a story to tell itself. Isn't that right?
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to introduce something, whether it's whether it's a label that highlights all our sort of social environmental aspects. So it might actually be bullet points and information on there, but or it might be some type of logo. But there'll definitely be something going on to the garments that's going to make it's going to make it stand out from the crowd, and everyone's going to be able to tell it's a Colourways WT t-shirt.
Yeah, it's really exciting now to the stories that we can tell when we were going back. Obviously, we were talking about the mangrove trees and the planting of those, and obviously where everything's sourced, 6 miles down from 8,600. Like, these are the types of snippets of information that we can place on the labeling. There's a lot of real great Easter eggs within brands at the moment. Like, there's we've looked at examples, haven't we, from the likes of Levi's skateboarding. They do hidden tags. Patagonia themselves, that we've just discussed, they do hidden tags and certain aspects within there as well. So we're going to play and really make that part of it. But actually, because it's audience centric, we're going to bring that journey in and start bringing the audience to the forefront there as well. So potentially, if you've sponsored the likes of a mangrove tree planting, then potentially the next purchase was the last person to do it and name them within the garment itself. So we're able to go down these personalization routes and really focus on that and look at it from that perspective. So hopefully, it's watch this space. I encourage you all to follow the journey. You'll see at the moment, this is that new that the Colourways Textiles Instagram page and all of the Colourways collateral is the old stuff still. We're only just introducing this. So this has been, you know, a fantastic journey. And actually part of the process of building this was this webinar today to get your feedback from the polls of where we take certain aspects. So again, it's very much an audience first brand to match that across. But yeah, it was any questions at all. Yeah, Carol, thank you very much. And you'll notice that even though you're not on TikTok, thank you. So Carol's just put she's following CWT on Insta and Facebook already now. She's not on TikTok, but neither are we yet. We haven't put the brand on there yet. So as I say, it's very, very new. We're literally in content creation mode and ready to launch. So even before you've seen the good things to come post, this is hot off the press, so to speak. So has anybody got any questions?
I've got a question.
Karandeep and what have you? Yeah, thanks, Anne.
Yeah, so I'm interested in the age profile because I actually thought that there'll be a lot of people that could be older that would be your sort of environmental warriors, and you know, we're more likely to watch, you know, YouTube and still probably Instagram. So I sort of thought that the age band would have been a bit wider, you know, sort of. I can understand that the under 25s might not want to spend that much money, but I would say that, you know, there's some people that are sort of in their 40s that would be interested. So I was just curious why you focused down on this particular age group.
Totally agree. Yeah, thanks. And yeah, the world's your oyster, really, in terms of the amount of people that we can target with this. Where we're launching it is with the absolute optimum. And why we talk about them in an optimum level is because them in themselves are influencers or most likely to be at that age group. So the Tims and the Tillys of the world have a voice that will help expand the Colourways Textiles name in phase one. So you're absolutely right. You know, everybody's a target audience, especially the over 40s. You're absolutely correct. And especially additional channels like Facebook, YouTube, and what have you. But they will come in phase two when we expand out, when hopefully we've made a bit of an impact and some noise prior to actually going after those. So it's all about just starting sensibly and growing in a way that we can test and learn what worked and what didn't without getting confused amongst many different target audience age groups and demographics.
Cool. Is there any more questions in the chat? So I'm guessing Carol is probably not in the TikTok generation. So
well, I am, but I just watch. I don't create any. But you're absolutely right. That made me sound creepy, didn't it? But yeah, it's there's many different things. So actually, we've got a team member that's working with us on this at the moment, who in herself is TikTok famous, and you know, she's given us some fantastic insight as to how we approach that in terms of the content creation. We just, as I say, we're going through the content creation now, so we're attaching it to the hashtag culture and the trend culture that's with the music side of things that is very, very popular within TikTok.
So what we decided to do was hold back one of the polls until the end to see what people thought. So now you know how much goes into creating a sustainable and ethically produced product, and also the price of the product. I've got some questions. I was hoping we would reveal the price after this, but it doesn't matter. So I've got another poll for you. So this is to do with how much would you be prepared to pay for a t-shirt with and without a sustainable and ethical credential. So in theory, if you could just test it, please, Tom, you should be able to click more than one answer.
I've done it.
Cheap as possibly. Sorry?
Yeah, it's all working fine, yeah.
Okay. As cheap as possible, definitely less than £10. Need to pay £10 to £20 for a standard cheap t-shirt to ensure quality, style and fit. Happy to pay £20 to £30 for a great design or better quality materials. I normally pay £25 to £50 so I can get a specific brand or where I'm buying a gift. I would be prepared to pay £21 to £30 if it was made ethically and was used sustainable. And then I've just repeated that question. So I've got £21 to £30, £31 to £40, £41 to £50, and then £51 to £75, just to try and get an understanding of the price range of other products. And of course, we've not shown you what everybody else is selling these at, because I'm guessing, Karandeep, from what you were saying, you can get anything from about £30 to £130 on ethical and sustainable products. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can. Yeah, there's so many brands out there now that are you know, they're all placed in different parts of the market, and you know, depending on who they want to target.
And also
Well,
being accountable for your own.
Sorry, Tom.
So yeah, I was just saying, being accountable for your own research as well within that we found is the word sustainable is banded around quite regularly. And in terms of like the truly ethical and sustainable product like Karandeep's is few and far between. So yeah, be suspicious, I would say, at a lower price point when looking at that, because obviously it's just not viable to produce something at a certain price.
So that's when the traceability and trackability come into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so the audience seemed to be in the sort of £20 to £30 buying market anyway. And actually, some people are prepared to spend, you know, so 20% of the people said that they'd be prepared to spend £20 to £50 anyway to buy a T-shirt. So it's not really surprising then that, you know, you've got 22% will pay £31 to £40, another 13% will pay more than that. There's only one person who'd be prepared to spend more than £50, which is interesting. But then, if, you know, as I said, we might have a mix of audiences in there. So
Sure.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. So I'm just going to bring the, I think it's the last slide, which is what's on next week. So this is the webinar for next week, which is PR techniques and tactics you can implement now. So this is Amy, who's our head of Owned and Earned. So she'll be talking next Friday. Also, I usually bring a couple of the offers and things that we have. So if any of you are interested in the free training resources, we actually have an academy which you can access. So I haven't brought that one up for a little while. That might be useful for some of you. And then if any of you are interested in a paid course, the next DMI course, which is a 12-day course, starts in July. So that's, oops, sorry, just realised. Did you hear my cat?
I did.
For some reason, I can't send that one. I think it might have expired. I need to change that one. So yeah, I don't seem to be able to get that one. But anyway, I think it's time to thank everybody for all their contribution today. You will get the video later. So hopefully everybody's enjoyed that with us. There was somebody who didn't actually quite agree with what we were saying today. I suspect that might be something about the age profiles. But I will actually investigate and find out what her comments were, so we can get some feedback on that.
Well, yeah.
But thanks again, everybody. And we've got some lovely comments from Carol about how she found that very interesting. A few other people as well. But thank you very much, Karandeep, and everybody enjoy the weekend. We'll see you next Friday.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.